everyone, and welcome back to another video. You joined me back in my room, so you're probably thinking, of course, oh, he's just doing another car rant. Incorrect! This is actually a different kind of video. We are going big brain today and making some very interesting AI-generated images. And I'm sure a lot of you are like, wait a minute, this is a car channel. What the heck are you doing? I shall explain. I don't know how many of you know, but I went to Rowan University. I got my bachelor's degree in electrical and computer engineering. But basically, I actually worked with some AI stuff while I was in school. It's called feature visualization. I'm actually working on publishing a paper on it. Yes, it's called feature visualization. And what it does is you take an AI, okay, so it's machine learning, and you train it on a bunch of pictures. You basically have the computer and you show it, okay, this is a cat. Here's a picture of it. Or you're like, here's a picture of a cat, this is a cat. Here's a picture of a dog, this is a dog. And you train it through and it learns to recognize things. And then from that, you can actually reverse it and tell it, okay, now that you've learned what a dog looks like, create a picture of a dog. And what it does is create its own picture based on the things it's learned to recognize about a dog. It's actually a really fascinating study that I've worked with. Now, recently I saw a video, it was actually from Markiplier, on Dale E Mini, which I have here in front of me on my computer. And this is basically that taken to a huge scale. You can type anything you want into it and it will create a picture about that. Now I'm sure you're like, well, that's cool, but why the heck do I care? Basically, if you're a car person though, this is going to be really interesting because I'm a car person and I wondered how we could combine this. Now, a lot of people create a lot of really cool pictures on here. If you go to the community tab, you can see some of them, like Optimus Prime in NASCAR, looks like that. You know, like that's kind of standard. Fred Rogers eating a whole ham. It's just this. And you can create a lot of really funny stuff on here. But what I wanted to do, okay, was see how this related to cars. So, here's what I wanted to do. Now, car manufacturers, if you don't know, all have very iconic, recognizable, it's called design language, all right? So basically when you see a car driving, you're like, oh, that's a Ford. So how can you tell? Well, it has, I don't know, headlights that look like a Ford or something like that. Dodge does this very well, where you're following, say, a Charger behind, or a Dart behind, or a Durango behind, you see the racetrack taillights. And you're like, oh, that's a Dodge, because it has those taillights. It's all part of brand recognition. But I was wondering, since this AI creates the most important parts of, you know, whatever you're talking about and combines them together in a picture, could we learn what makes a car look like it's from a brand from this AI? Case in point, here, let me look up something. If I type in Pontiac, okay, and run this, what is Pontiac most known for? Their arrowhead kind of front, right? They have the Pontiac, I don't even know what you call it. You'll see when it generates. So this takes a little bit to run. We can watch it count up. Here we go. So this is what the AI creates when you tell it, make a Pontiac. And you can see these look like Pontiacs and it shows them all from the front end, which is actually very helpful, except that one, don't look at that one. But you can see they all have the line down the front, right? Like this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. That's what creates a Pontiac. I don't see any Fieros in here, which is too bad. In fact, if we just type Fiero, I wonder what it'll come up with. But it's cool stuff. Now we can kind of create this. We can use this for other brands too. I want to see what Lamborghinis look like, or Ferraris, or Paganis, or Konas things. We'll see what the iconic design language is for each of those. We've determined for Pontiac, when you think of Pontiac, apparently you think of 60s cars with giant chrome bumpers and the Pontiac thing, which is probably the correct time to think about Pontiac because their later cars weren't all that good, except the Fiero, of course. So, hey, it's my Fiero. Now, a lot of these actually look like notchback Fieros. Like that looks like a notchback. That kind of looks like mine. Look at it. That's my car. You can see one in yellow here. The other one's a spoiler. This one looks, you can kind of see the wheels. But yeah, look at that. It created my car. I don't know what happened to that one. It's having a crisis. It doesn't know if it has a spoiler or not. Now, a lot of these just kind of look like the general images when you Google, which I believe is kind of all the images they were trained on. You can see when you just Google Pontiac Fiero, a lot of them are actually notchbacks, except for that. That needs to go away. But Okay, this is a Fiero that has stickers to make it look like a Testarossa, and it's lifted. I'm done with that. Hey, look, this one has 6 pop-up headlights. It's funny. But you can see it takes in the iconic features of Fiero. Smooth lines, no headlights, you know, and kind of a cut-off back section. Super cool. Now let's get into this, okay? What brand should we do? Well, you know what? We'll just do Lamborghini, because they are the supercar makers. I mean, they define the supercar with the mirror, right? So let's see what comes up with this. I will join you in the future. While we're waiting, make sure to go check out All I'm Saying, found on your favorite podcast network, or actually probably just on Spotify. It's called All I'm Saying. It has a green album cover. It's just me, the local mechanic, and Tim Durap, who've all been on YouTube videos, and we just talk about random stuff and some Bible stuff too. We're all Christians. So if you are also interested in listening to that, go check it out on Spotify. All I'm Saying. And now here we have Lamborghini, okay? Interesting. Now first off, they're all green or yellow, which is pretty cool. Like the Miura was iconic colors green, the Aventador green, Murcielago green. And you can see some of that. Now, this seems to take mostly from the Aventador with a bit of Murcielago in here. But this very well defines what Lamborghini's design language is, especially with this one. You can see it's a door wedge. It's a door wedge. It's got kind of an intake on the side here, and you got the front intake there. This is pretty good. Lamborghini's better than I could draw one. This just looks like some kind of modern art. But I guess you can still kind of see it's got the exhaust, it's got the yellow, you know, kind of a brake light there. Very interesting, very interesting. The majority of this is just intake. It's very much Aventador, which is pretty cool. But yeah, you can kind of tell what makes a Lamborghini. Apparently giant intakes pushed to the side, giant wheels on that one, and the door wedge type shape. I don't know what happened to this Lamborghini. It's seen some things. So let's try Ferrari though. Ferrari. See what that generates. Ah! Very interesting. Apparently the most iconic part of Ferrari is the wheels. They just want to show the wheels. Huh. But there's a Ferrari for you. Now this looks just like a 458. I mean, that's practically a 458 on drugs or something. But it's got the creases in the hood, the long headlight, and kind of the 3 intakes in the middle, as opposed to 2 from Lamborghini. And of course, they're all red, except for this one. Don't look at that one. This one kind of looks like an old race car or something from Ferrari. I don't know what happened to this one. It can't make up its mind if this is the back of the car or the front of the car. Interesting. That one didn't quite perform as well. Hey, pop-up headlights. I guess a lot of pictures of Ferrari are just of the wheels. It's not a lot of picture of wheels. I don't know where that came from. But yeah, these 3 in the middle definitely kind of sum up Ferrari, especially this one. That's just a 458, which is kind of the iconic Ferrari, if we're being honest. So let's move into some more hypercars here. Let's talk Bugatti. See what Bugatti's got. If it doesn't make a horseshoe grill, then it's doing it wrong. Let's see what happens. Oh, here we go. Hey! Oh my gosh! That's literally just a Veyron. Wow, that's really good. I mean, that one kind of looks like a Chiron with the bigger headlights there. That just looks like a real picture, kind of a Veyron. Well, it got Bugatti really well. It almost even got the badge on that one. Wow. Well, I don't know quite what happened to that. But yeah, they all have the horseshoe grill, which is the... Don't look at that one. Which is the iconic feature of Bugatti, as well as kind of the split hood like that. You know, I mean, this one kind of looks like it's a Chiron and also a Veyron. It's a Veyron with Chiron headlights. Bugatti has not deviated much from their design language from the Veyron, and that seems to be kind of what this is picked up on. Koenigsegg, I see a lot of Agera here. Now, I don't know how recent all these pictures are, but this is just a Koenigsegg Agera here. You can see the headlights and kind of just a general shape. It got the Koenigsegg windshield in there, which is nice. I don't know what happened to that one. A Koenigsegg having an existential crisis. It's not quite as defined as Bugatti was. That's an interesting one. But you can see it's got the Agera headlights on there, and the kind of wraparound windshield, and even kind of the middle scoop it all has. That's more of a CCX there with the lines on the hood. Oh, okay, so it reverted back to to muscle cars again if you do Dodge. This is just, yeah. It's like Challengers. That kind of looks like a Challenger. Not if you look too closely. And it's funny how you can tell by like the headlights and I guess like the wheel size and just the general shapes, you can tell what era these pictures are from. Design language is so cool. Here we got Corvette. This has focused a lot, it looks like, on C6 and a bit of C5, which I guess are the most common Corvettes right now. Like that's a C5, I guess, because you can't really see the headlights. That one looks like it's a classic one that's merged with a new one. Corvette is such a wide range of things, you never know what you're going to get. I mean, that one kind of looks like a Viper, if I'm honest. That kind of looks like a C6. It's kind of merged a whole bunch of different... Like, that's a C... It's almost got, like, C2 bumpers on it. And a grille from the C2. But then it's got, like, C5 dimensions. That's weird. It's like a merge between a C2 and a C5 or C6. That's funny. So then we got Ford GT. Interesting. I was expecting it to pick the 05... 06 generation GT a lot more. This is like the new GT. If you look at this one, it's kind of got the lower windshield and the bigger wheels of the new car. It's like it takes the dimensions of the new GT mixed with the styling of the old. Now, the new GT has a grille like that in the front, but that looks like the old GT headlights. And it's kind of given them stripes. Oh, that one is weird. It's like the back of the car, but also the front of the car. That one's got like an ulcer or something on it. Okay, so McLaren, okay, it took from the newer cars there. Like that is just a 650S kind of combined there. I don't know what that one is. That kind of looks like the new Elva, actually. Kind of combined a lot of the newer ones. Oh, look, it's a convertible. Very weird. But it's interesting, all these seem to be on a racetrack. There you go. How about that? Okay, here we have Supercar. That just looks like a Lamborghini, if I'm honest. Oh, interesting. Okay. Tell me this doesn't look like a Ferrari, like a 360, with a Gallardo front on it. That's interesting. It's combined the two, the Lamborghini and the Ferrari, right? So if I show you, you kind of got the headlights and the general hood and windshield shape from it, right? And then it's taken the Gallardo and kind of put that front and kind of merged the headlights as well. That's funny. It's a Lamborghini and a Ferrari. It's a Lamborghini. For the rest of these, that one just looks like a Lamborghini kind of, as does that one. That one almost kind of looks like a Saleen. Interesting. It seems to be combining a lot of things. But what can we determine is a supercar based on these? For one, it seems that they all seem to have two intakes to the side, which I think is just because Lamborghini does that so much, and it kind of recognizes that as a performance thing from the front. But you can tell these are all mid-engine, especially like from these side angles. You can see all of these have an intake just in front of the wheel there, right? Not that one. That one has the intake there. That one has the intake. That one has the intake. So they're all, as far as modern supercars, that seems to be a big thing for styling. But a big thing between these, it seems to be, it recognizes strong sound of a low car, larger wheels. You have the air intake in front of the rear wheel, and then two separate intakes for like brake cooling on the front. That seems to be the most iconic features of a supercar, which is pretty accurate. If you look at the Aventador, it's got all of those things. The Corvette has all of those things. You look at any supercar, really, they have, you know, the Audi R8, two big intakes on the side, and that has a big intake. It has a big grille too. That has the intakes on the side as well. That's interesting. So if we look at Hypercar then, this is interesting. Now, it seems to be a light bar is a big part of it. Interesting. That kind of looks like a Veyron merged with something else. The Hypercars seem to kind of looks like a Ford GT. That looks like a worm. I can't distinguish a lot of these cars, actually. I don't know what that looks like. Maybe a Porsche 918? I don't really know. Let me know what you guys think these are. And what is the difference here, then, between what it thinks a supercar is and what it thinks a hypercar is? These seem to have smaller headlights and smaller taillights. I don't know. And I guess the proportions are a little different. Nothing I can really put my finger on. Very interesting. So that's anyway what the AI thinks is the difference between supercars and hypercars. I don't really see what it is. They're just kind of different things merged together. But somewhere in there's probably a lot of information. Anyway, to wrap up this video, let's see what the AI thinks the best looking car ever made is. Oh, interesting. I was not expecting that. It went for a more classic look. This kind of looks like race cars from the 60s. I don't know what this is doing here. That's not where I thought it was gonna go. It went back to more retro cars. But there you have it. This, everyone, is what the AI thinks the best looking car in the world looks like. Now let's see what the Emperor eating McDonald's looks like. Oh no, that's terrifying. That's pretty good though. He does. It looks like he's eating it and it hurts him, but he must keep eating it. I don't know what kind of cheeseburger. That's a great picture. That's a good sized cheeseburger right there. Thank you everyone for watching. I thought this was kind of cool just to see what an AI could do with creating pictures. I hope you all enjoyed. This is free. You can just go on it. It's called Daily Mini, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's neat stuff and kind of cool what AI can do. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching as my Chrome freezes again, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.